Throwaway for obvious reasons. Not really sure how to start this off, but yeah, I just found out Sunday night and confronted her Monday morning. Just need people to talk to, I guess. We've been together for roughly 2.5 years. We've had disagreements in the past, but we have never once legit argued with each other. I've done the whole yelling match thing in a past relationship, and that doesn't solve anything. She's a genuinely nice and very sweet person, but this just skews my entire perspective of her. Up until roughly 6 months ago, our relationship was great. We communicated well. Our sex life was very good, and then the sex was pretty much non-existent. Up until this point, we've had a few serious discussions trying to figure out what was wrong to get back on track. My issue during these discussions was always the lack of intimacy or feeling wanted. It was pretty straightforward. When it came to her issues, she said that we moved in together too quickly. She's never lived alone. Always had roommates and she needed space. I was fine with that. Mistakes happen. Maybe it was too quick for her. We've been looking for the past couple months to try and get her an apartment that she could afford on her own. But in that time, my intimacy issues still didn't see any progress. She works in a group home, and because of COVID and other staff getting sick or awaiting test results, she's been getting 70+ hours week. I want to note that I hate creeping on people's phones or other devices, and I value trust. Privacy greatly in a relationship, but I just started getting suspicious. And well, Sunday night my suspicions got the better of me, and I logged onto her laptop while she was at work. Fucking obviously I see some damning conversations dating a while back. Then I managed to log into her Instagram and found very recent conversations to the same person. When I confronted her, she didn't deny anything that I found and admitted that quite a few times when she got overnight shifts wasn't actually going to work. She didn't really give me an excuse, but basically said when we first met that's when she had reached her goal weight. And then when she started her new job a couple months prior to when the cheating first started, she started getting a lot of attention from the men that worked there. I get that. Validation is nice from attractive dudes if you're not used to it, but it's not an excuse to just go fuck somebody because he calls you hot a few times. The confrontation was pretty brief. At the end, I basically gave her a free pass to end the relationship, but she wanted to work through it. I just told her to leave and stay with her mom so I didn't lose it on her and I could have time to think. Monday night, she sent me a long text apologizing profusely about hurting me, betraying my trust, etc. I responded yesterday basically pointing out how fucked it was that she's been letting this go on for so long and that I had to find out myself instead of her coming to me. I added that it was fucked up that she knew my issues with the relationship and that she was lying about needing space to cover the fact that she was cheating. I ended up asking her why our sex life took a nosedive, and she said it was because she felt extremely guilty and wouldn't do anything with me until she told me, and the anxiety and depression kept her from speaking up. I then asked her if she had feelings for the guy that she had been seeing. She said no. There were a few more texts from her apologizing and all that, but you're basically caught up to today and right now. Always thought I'd be able to end a relationship if I got cheated on, but I love her to death and she fucked up. I want to give her a second chance, and I know I won't be able to hold it over her head if I decide to forgive her. I just don't know how to forgive her. Sorry, kind of a long post, but I don't have many people to talk to about this. Wife had affair. Did it in-house, couch and own bed with her AP. She wants to reconcile, but I'm stuck. Hello. This is my first Reddit post ever, so I've been married 5 years. We've been together for 12 years. We have 2 kids, 3 and 7. About a year ago during the pandemic, things weren't great between us. We were growing disconnected, but things were trucking along. My wife was furloughed, had broken her foot, was homeschooling our eldest, and at this time her dad and sister were not going well with their health. So she was going through a lot. I ended up catching her in bed with a female friend one night. And things got explosive, and I saw on her phone messages from her friend Johnny that were obviously sexual and inappropriate. This guy is a former work acquaintance who lives out of town but comes here occasionally for work. He's a tattoo artist, and she had got a tattoo from him that week, and I let her go to his place for a get-together with friends. Even though I saw texts alluding to them having sex, she only admitted to making out. I ended up going through her Instagram and text messages, and they were deeply sexing and things were taking on an S&M vibe. It was also disturbing. I went into a rage, threw her phone on the ground. It shattered. So for 6 months after this, we tried couples therapy. She eventually wanted to separate. She gaslighted me the whole time, even though I was despondent and couldn't give up the fact that I knew they had sex, even though she wouldn't admit. I did all the things like trying to win her back and trying date nights and being better partner around the house. But she just wasn't ready. She was too connected to this guy. I caught her sexting him again in April, and she supposedly cut off contact with him. I went out of town in May to get some space, and she promised she wouldn't see him. While I was out of town, she texted me saying she wanted to give things a go, to not separate. I was so happy and came back renewed to get things back on track. Things were going okay this summer. She got a new job and I asked her to block him on IG, which she did. But then in June I caught her sexting him again and I lost it. Got suicidal. Called 911, etc. Obviously. Very toxic all around. I emailed the guy after this telling him to leave my wife alone. A month later, I start getting emails from the guy's girlfriend and things all started to come out in the open. Turns out, of course, they had sex that first time back in the fall. But the kicker is, on the night I was out of town and the same night she texted me saying she wanted to work things out. Turns out he was in town and she caved and let him come over. And they had sex in my house, on my couch, while my kids were asleep. She chalks it up to alcohol, past sexual trauma. So many reasons, but none of them make it okay, and I cannot stop thinking about them having sex. I know all the details and I can't unsee it, since it was all forced out in the open. She's determined to make things right and has been doing everything she can, but I'm stuck. I just feel it's unforgivable. But maybe I'm wrong. I do love her and I really want things to work out. Our kids need us, and when things are good, we are a great team. I really need to know if things can get better. I am an overthinker and I am worried that maybe I just can't overcome this. Thank you.